Kiki Melendez. How you doing? Red is your color.
Oye,
Check it out. How you doing?
Oye, I am so proud of you. You're still alive at LATV.
I'm still here.
You're still here.
I don't know how I'm still here. I gotta be honest with you.
I
have
don't
no
understand,
idea.
and you don't even get older.
Hey, no, I actually have. But look at these gray hairs. This is the trauma of my life. But I will say this. I am finally doing... Look, I've always loved the stuff that I've been doing here. But I think this podcast is really me. Just being able to sit down with someone like you and just hash it out and talk.
That's awesome.
You know, so...
You love what you do, and that's so
yeah,
important.
Yeah, I really do. And you love what you're doing.
Yes.
So before we get into your storied career as a comedian, one of the Latina pioneers, especially in stand-up comedy, let's talk about what you're doing right now that's really exciting. You're doing a festival called Omni Fest.
Right. And the reason it's called Omni is because even my white people are welcome to be part of it.
It's everybody. It's our party, but everyone's invited.
Exactly. You know, a lot of some Latino celebrities actually kind of got mad at me. They're like, why are you doing all Latino? I'm sorry, why are you not doing all Latino? And I said, because that's the problem. We're always excluding each other.
Yeah.
I mean, we should be uniting each other. Right. Everybody has it tough out there.
Right.
So why should I just concentrate on this group? Let's do it together. And let me tell you, I almost cried when I saw the final selections. Yeah. You know, because you're sitting there and you're watching American Asians, African American, Latino, white, everybody together, and you kind of get goosebumps and you go, wow, I feel like so big. You know, it just makes you feel big, like so much love is going to be in that room.
Now, give us a little bit more information on it. So it's basically, content creators, filmmakers, people that are pitching TV stuff, but are not necessarily in the game, so to speak, and they're trying to get that door.
Some of them are.
They're in the game, but
I mean, we have projects with like Olivia Dukakis, who is an Oscar winner. Right. We have a project with Martin Sheen and Sherry Belafonte.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, they're definitely in the game.
I mean, it's
but maybe projects that get overlooked or dismissed by the mainstream.
It's just basically, I would say it's for people that have had projects and you're as a filmmaker, you make something and then you're afraid to like show it because you don't want people to steal it. So this is something like, it's a liberation. It's like, show it to the industry right now. Let's take a gamble. Let's see who buys it. Let's see who gets excited about it. And so anyway, the reason that I did this was because so many people come to me. Kiki helped me make this show. Kiki put this out, because I've put shows on the air. I put Kiki Desde Hollywood. I put Hot Tamales Live, Locos y Contentos. My movie went to all theaters. So I have been a independent producer all my life. If I waited to get a deal, nobody would know who I am, even though they don't now. But that's not the point.
I know who you are, and that's why you're on Check It Out.
You know what I mean. And so everyone comes to me, and I felt like so powerless. Like, I'm like, I can't help you. I can barely help myself. Right. And so when I started working with NATP in Miami, which is the National Association of Television Program Executives, and they told me they wanted to reach out to the emerging producer, I said, hey, I have an idea. Why don't we do this? And they loved it. And they're so proud. And we are doing so good. We're working very well together. And they are supporting me wholeheartedly. And it just feels like at least I'm not just doing this for show. I'm doing this with a purpose. Yeah. They bring the buyers, I bring the creators, we merge them together, we come together. Like it's like a bridge that we're making with Omni Cultural TV Fest. And today I got Viacom as one of my sponsors. Today, just before I got here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a totally different role for you then, right? Because I mean, you've been a performer, a comedian, a writer, an actress, and now you're. I mean, what would you call what you're doing right now?
I do it all. I used to do live performances with Hot Tamales. We used to go all over the country. I used to do Vegas. The only thing that's different about this for me, and it's scaring the hell out of me, is that I've never done an all-day event.
That is hilarious.
I've never done an event at 8 a.m. doors open.
Oh, that's gonna be the problem.
I am freaking out.
Okay.
I'm freaking out. Like last night, I literally slept 3 hours because I go, 2 weeks, and you got to fill all this room, and you got to make sure everybody comes, and you got to make sure the panels are full and the screenings are full. And I started having a panic attack, So that's the only thing that's a challenge. But I right now, I think we're 2/3 there. Like we have, already like between 600 to 700 people.
And this happens May 1st.
So it's tickets are really going fast, and space is really limited.
And who do you want buying, for the remaining tickets? Who are you looking for to attend? Emerging creators that want to get involved in this next year?
It's going to be an inspiring day because, we're setting it up where emerging creators are actually going to be able to sit in a panel that talks about content, programming, and development. So that is with one of the the VPs of acquisition from Fuse Media. We have someone from A&E. We have all these network executives and people that buy and create content for network television. So imagine that's my first panel, and then the next one is about directing, writing with huge people in the business, like A-list writers. I'm going to start, obviously, sharing this information. It's on the website right now. We just released it.
What's the website?
The website is www.omniculturaltvfest.com.
Most of these organizations and festivals, even the ones that cater to Latino emerging creators or people of color, that it's not usually a person of color putting on the festival. So I think that you're really positioning yourself to be open up the gates, not just the door, for a lot of emerging creators and not just Latino ones.
Oh my
people
God.
of all shades and colors and all that stuff.
Si tú vieras, I have to say, I get teary-eyed every time I think about it, because if you could have heard or seen the response of these creators when we tell them that they're accepted, it's almost like their whole life changes. And a few of them said, "You're already changing my life," and it makes me kind of want to cry sometimes because I'm like, oh my God, this is so emotional,
You're always on the verge of crying, though, Kiki.
I know.
What's your sign again?
Look, you're making me cry.
Are you a Libra?
I'm an Aries. And
I'm an Aries. Happy birthday.
I know. April 5th. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. So, God, that's my dad's birthday, by the way.
Oh, my God.
He's an Aries, too. And my sister's an Aries. 3 Aries.
No,
my poor mom. She's
stop.
a Libra. But what is the challenge? Okay, let's talk about this. What are both the pros and cons of being an emerging creator today? What are the advantages? I'm gonna think, okay, well, you have the internet, you can kind of like build your own brand a little bit, but it's the internet and social media has also gotten kind of flooded, so it's not that easy to separate yourself. What are the challenges for emerging creators to get their project to a development stage?
The problem right now is there's so many problems in the business, and we have so many platforms, but yet I think one of the major problems is what I call a little bit of corporate communism in America. It's like these corporations kind of like want to make all the money. Do you know what I mean? And then the little emerging producer, they don't want to pay for that content. We pay, let's say, $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 to do a sizzle reel. And then when we try to sell it, they want to pay us $50. You know what I'm saying? And that's a huge problem because how are we going to pay? How are we going to be able to create if we don't have a little bit of support financially? So that's one thing. The only people that really make good money are the people that already have a hit on TV. Then they get all the money in the world. Do you know what I mean? So there's just a really big gap in emergence.
There's no middle class.
There's no middle class. And just like America, that's how it is in America now.
That's the problem.
I don't know if you saw that. It was like all corporations, there's like 50 corporations that didn't pay a penny in taxes.
And they're all the biggest ones.
And they're the biggest ones.
No, Amazon didn't pay a penny in tax.
And so that's the same in entertainment. It's the same exact thing. So that's what I think the problem is. And, one of my dreams is to create Omni Cultural TV because I want to be able to be like that platform where all this stuff gets in and I can pay people a decent amount and we could create original programming. Listen, these emerging creators, it's not about money for them. It's about the love of the art, but also we have to find a way to support and help them make the art.
Well, see, here's the thing. I have a theory. Like, a lot of people, might think, my God, there's so many content creators now because you can buy a camera for cheap and you can have editing software.
You can do it on your phone.
Right. So there's actually but I honestly think that in the future, how, like, was it Andy Warhol that said everyone's going to be famous for 15 minutes, right? And we're kind of experiencing that now. Because everything's getting automated, because actual labor is being automated, we need something for people to do. And because people are consumed, because you don't need to go out and hunt for the deer, you can go to the supermarket. We have more time in our hands. Humanity is actually shifting towards creating content. So either you're a programmer or a coder, or you got to create content.
Exactly.
So there is actually room for more emerging content. That's my little theory. Let's talk about you for a second. How did you get into comedy? Because, there's a lot of female comedians, especially Latina comedians, that look up to you. There are a lot of male comedians, let's be honest, not just female comedians and Latinos. But when you came in
you
the
were
game,
there in one of my best shows, remember?
Yeah,
when we did that show with Angela Johnson.
Oh, with Angela Johnson. Amazing. She's great. Well, Angela Johnson was my first guest on Check It Out, by the way.
Paul Rodriguez, everyone was amazing.
But when you got in the game, you didn't have necessarily pioneers to look up to. Maybe, Freddie Prinze,
Paul Rodriguez.
And what did you have to, and as a woman, what did you have to go on?
Well, it was a fluke. I always wanted to be an actor, and my mother was one of those Latina moms that, wanted me to be a secretary, anything but an actress. So we made a deal, and she said, if you finish college, because she never finished college, she only had like a third grade education, and her dream, and I was her only child, she was a single mom, and her whole dream was for me to have a college education. So she said, I'll make a deal with you. If you finish 4 years of college, you could do whatever you want. So I went to FAU. I studied communications with a minor in psychology. Actually, psychology with a minor in communications. Okay. And then I said, okay, Mom, now I want to be an actress.
There you go. Here's the diploma.
It took me 5 years, Mom, because I worked part-time to help myself get through college. And it took me 5 years. And I said, okay, Mom, I gave it all I had. I did my 5 years. Now you need to let me go and let me do what I want. So I was I got accepted to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts and Lee Strasberg, the two best schools in New York. I took everything to New York, and I just kind of bummed it over there. And when I got there,
you were living in South Florida.
I was living and I was raised in New York. Okay. Went to high school and college in South Florida, and then I came back to New York.
What high school did you go to?
I went to NMB. When it was all Jewish.
Wait, North Miami Beach?
Yeah, it was all Jewish back then. Yeah. And now you see how old I am. Yeah. But anyway, so I went back to New York, and I went to Lee Strasberg, and then it was all dramatic, and a friend of mine, Joey Vega, who was like the Paul Rodriguez of New York, very, very popular there. And he actually writes for Chris Rock, and all that. So he and I became friends because there was a comedy spot called Stand Up New York around the corner from my house. So I used to kind of go there and, watch the comedians. I used to see Chris Rock. ¿Cómo se llama? Todos los big ones, Adam Sandler, Seinfeld. Like, they were, like, hanging out before making it, like, at this place. Right. Okay, who knew that I was... And I'd be like, hey, guys. It was, like, that kind of thing, you know? And so he said to me, Kiki, you should be a comedian. You are so funny. Like, you're always making everyone laugh. Male comedians are very dark.
Yes.
Okay? Yes. They're really dark. And so they go, you're so funny. You make us laugh. Come on, you should get into comedy. So they all talked me into getting a class with Rob Weinstein, this guy that did a class.
Not related to Harvey, I hope.
No, thank God. And that's how it started. And then I started saying, oh my God, this is kind of fun. I was petrified to do it, but that's how I started.
Wow. Now, you said male comedians are dark. Are you not dark in some sort of way?
Yeah, I think we all are. I mean, we all have our days. Like, I remember, listen to this.
Do you have a Scorpio moon?
Listen, last week I was dark. I'm like, how the hell am I going to pay for this festival? I was like, God help me.
That's when you need the dark humor.
Exactly. But then God blessed me. I mean, this festival's blessed. I just got two huge, sponsors, the Dominican Tourism Department and Nickelodeon, Viacom. That just happened. Yeah. And that just like, oh my God, I can do this. It was a miracle.
This is going to be a grind for you the next couple weeks. I know that you're like, I cannot wait for May 2nd.
I know.
May 2nd is going to be the most relaxing day that you have had in years.
I mean, I've been working on this festival 7 months.
Well, you had it
non-stop.
Yeah, you had a debut at a Hispanicized.
Since that day.
Because you guys had like a section.
You were there.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you for being there.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, since that day that you saw me, I have been working 24/7 on this festival. I haven't even had a weekend off since that day you saw me. And that was like 7 months ago.
It's going to happen. What do you think it is about you that you can handle a situation like this? What has happened over the course of your life that you feel like you can take on something that would be just overwhelming to most other people?
I think that one of my best assets is, I work really great under pressure, even though I lose it a little bit sometimes. B, I am a incredible multitasker. Like right now, I have a huge project, a huge television movie project, and then I have the festival, and then I have my personal career. Like I'm literally turning down auditions now because I just can't focus. I'm like, no, please. I turned down an audition today because I just can't focus on the acting Kiki today, you know, or this week. But I'm usually multitasking. Like I can go from one phone call about a movie deal, then I go into another phone call for the Omni, then I go into another phone call to raise money for my other project.
But no personal phone calls anymore.
Exactly.
Right? You don't have time for friends and fam right now.
I don't call any of my friends anymore.
I really do. I'm not a phone person. By the way, for me, phone calls are like for important things. It texts me if you want to find out what's going on tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Are you like that?
No, I spend 5 hours on the phone with.
I can picture that. You would think, because I'm very talkative, you would think I'm on the phone a lot, but I'm not.
I'm just such a phone person. It's horrible. Like literally, you know what I had to do today? I wish you could have been in my house. Okay, I'm like getting ready to come here. The phone rings with a potential sponsor that somebody's putting me on top. I am getting ready, talking to the sponsor at the same time.
Getting dressed with one hand.
I swear, I literally walked out of the shower, getting ready, putting my pantalones on, my, ¿cómo se dice?
Pants?
No, my panties. ¿Cómo se llama?
Your panties.
I'm putting on, how do you call it? How do you say it in Mexican term?
I'm Cuban.
Chones. I'm putting my chones on, talking to a freaking network owner from Mexico that wants to be part of Omni. And I'm like trying to figure out how to get him involved at the last minute.
Tell him that you're putting your chones on. Maybe that'll get him excited.
It was like, nobody would believe this shit. Nobody would believe it.
Wait, let me ask you, when you, especially as a woman in the biz, when you first started, what were some of the challenges that you had to deal with back then that you don't think maybe, you know, female talent has to deal with today?
I feel like... I think my biggest thing is like jealousy in the business. Like I think that, you know, people don't like, I think that in the Latin world we don't help each other as much as we should. You know, we look at each other as competition. And you know, I feel that has been my biggest setback because I get help from other people. Like men help me. You know, all the biggest breaks I've ever had was from men that believed in me.
Why do you think men vibe with you?
Because maybe I have a lot of testosterone. I do get facial hair, you know.
You're very.
I have facial hair. That's why.
Listen, that I think that you're also you're so straightforward.
I get more help from men.
You're not.
Men are good people.
Okay, you're so
me
funny.
not too.
Oh, that's funny. I think that you're so straightforward that there's not a lot left up to interpretation.
I know.
So guys don't have to like, what does she mean by that? Does she want me to call? Does she? Let me ask you.
I remember one executive in New York. You know, I called him. Hey, listen, I need this, and he goes, Kiki, can you at least say how's the family? How was your weekend? And then he made me feel so bad. He goes, no, but that's what I love about you. You don't waste my time. You go straight to what you need,
no
and you don't waste my you don't waste time bullshitting about bullshit talk.
I know. There's some people that force the pleasantry that they're like, you know, you just want to cut into them. They're like, hold on, hello. How's your day? And I'm like, you know what? I know that I should be doing that, but I'm in a hurry. Can we just cut to the chase? I don't want to be on the phone for too long.
That's why you and I get along. We're like, Kiki.
No, when it's two areas,
and then
two Latino areas.
And if you don't call me, I call. I'm like, mira, hijo de tu madre, where are you? Why aren't you calling me back? You know, because we get crazy.
Okay, here's another personal question. What is it like to be in a relationship over the years with Kiki Melendez? Is it a lot of energy required?
Well,
or surprisingly no?
I think, you know, one of the things I feel as a whole, I am like this really good person that has a really good heart, and everything in every relationship, I always have 100% great intentions, and sometimes I hurt myself to help someone else, and every time that I do that, I feel like God punishes me, you know, because he's like, you're supposed to look out for yourself. So every time you look out for someone else, it backfires on me. Because that person doesn't appreciate it, and or that person doesn't I don't know how to explain it. You know, they don't understand the magnitude of what I've done for them. You know, mostly a lot of people, I've changed lives, helping them in with a lot of love. And like, for example, this is a perfect example. You know how many business people said to me, "You should be getting a cut of every show that gets picked up at Omni."
I can see
every business person, because I'm looking for financing now to do that platform that I told you about. And so they're like, so you're getting a cut, right, for every show that gets picked up? And I'm like, no, that's not why I'm doing this. Like, I really have good intentions. I'm risking all the money.
Should at least get maybe a producer credit or special thanks too.
No, special thanks.
Fact.
I'm going to tell all the filmmakers, if everything goes forward, please thank Omni. Right. Please help us build the brand. Yeah. But that's not my intention. Right. That's not my goal, right? So I feel people get like if sometimes there's a French philosopher, and I forgot his name, and I forgot the exact quote. I think it is. It starts with an R.
It's probably Rousseau.
Yeah, and he said that that when you help people, you inspire jealousy.
Ooh.
Because they always feel
that
like they owe you.
But you know what?
So accept help. Yeah. Because then the person will not be jealous.
Oh my God, you're blowing my mind about accepting help, because a lot of times I don't accept help because I don't want to. I hate feeling in debt.
You see?
And mind blowing right now.
And I go, wow, that I learned a lesson. It's like when you help, people feel indebted, so therefore and that's been my biggest problem. And then that inspires jealousy, and so that's when. So you have to kind of balance it. Now, not everybody's like that. You're the type of person, if I help you and you help me, we're not that.
But I'll tell you something. When somebody helps me, I do feel like
indebted.
I want to help. You hate to say favor for favor, but if somebody does you a favor, you got to do the favor back.
That's the ticket. You have to. It has to be a give and take.
Right, reciprocate.
Exactly.
A little bit more, because I love the history lessons. And you bring up Paul Rodriguez, who I think he's just like
he's so.
He's
we almost had a show here,
Yeah.
I really wanted to do.
Well, I think now we're focusing a lot on digital. So off camera, I want to set up another talk with you and Luke and see if there's something else we can do. But in the 80s, now I think that. Especially the past 10, 15 years, we're trying to do the Latino thing. What's the Latino thing? Are we too Latino? Are you supposed to talk in Spanish? Use an accent? Are you not Latino enough? Are we supposed to, like you said, only be with ourselves? And for me, my friends are like, a diaspora. My friends are like the United Nations. We're from all over the place. I don't necessarily even think of myself. I think of myself as an individual. And then when you get to like the second level, it's like, oh, my culture and where I come from and stuff like that. But in the 80s, what was it like for a Latino actor, writer, performer? Was it like, oh, okay, like you have this niche that maybe there'll be a role for you in, or you have these jokes that you can write, but like what was it like?
I mean, I grew up in a Jewish neighborhood.
I see that.
A Dominican in a Jewish neighborhood is so bizarre. And you know what? I have to say, I'm really grateful to God. I never felt discriminated. I always felt welcomed. I always felt loved. I always felt supported. I wasn't one of those like, oh, I'm Latina and people hate, people don't open the door for me. Like, to me, it wasn't about that at all. I am all about, that's why I guess I always want to unite everybody. I don't want to segregate. I want us because I just feel that it inspires you. Like, I remember you have been to Hot Tamales, right? Yes. You go and it's already Latina, right. Latino project, because it's me, right, heading the show. But then you have a black person, an Asian, and a Persian, and a Jewish person, a white person. Everybody's there. And that show gives you this feeling of love, when you leave. That's why it was so sold out all the time. Right. It was always a huge success because it was the love that people felt by laughing together in one room and feeling represented. So I've never been one of those people. Like, I have to tell you a story. I used to have a cousin. God, may he rest in peace. And he grew up in Alto Manhattan, which is like the sort of like the tough neighborhood in New York. And I used to live on East 79th by pure luck. I lived on East 79th among the Jews again in New York. So he was a white guy. He had green eyes and blonde hair, so you never knew he was Dominican. And so he came to visit me one day and to take me out to lunch, and we were leaving my building. And so when you're leaving the building, there was a door that led to the laundry room, and somebody comes out, and we were coming here, and he went, like, he just, how you're not expecting someone to be there when you walk out the door, and you almost hit him. Yeah. So the guy went like, oh my God, like that. And he thought it was because he was Latino that he did that. And I said, no, he was just shocked because he almost ran into us. And he let that, and he would, no. Right. I go, that's my neighbor. He loves me. I hang out with him. He's not racist toward me. but he couldn't get it out of his head that the guy was racist toward him.
Right. Sometimes people want that chip on their shoulder and they don't want to let it go. And that's why I think that, you're anti-chip on the shoulder, and I think that's why it gets you somewhere. I think that for me also, your festival has the right approach in that for Latinos to be more present, because we are the most disproportionately underrepresented people in the Black people have done very well. Asians are now, especially with this movie, they're a little underrepresented too, but there's more of us than Asians. So, but the way we got to do it is we got to have a party and invite everybody to the party. Have them come to our party, but everyone's invited. We can't just throw a party for ourselves, because then nobody, they're not gonna. It's not gonna cross over to other people, So that's what I want on this show as well. I mean, I also wanted to get to a point where I'm just bringing in a bunch of people. And on LATV, we have tried to be multicultural and bring in a lot, because I think that if people come to our house, they'll understand us better. But they're gonna be comfortable when there's a bunch of different people around them. They're not like we're not trying to make other people the outsider, because we know what that feels like, So.
No, there's a big difference. Like when you go to a all Anglo Hollywood party, you could see that it's cliques. People that know each other in little areas, and nobody.
It's also much quieter than like if you and me get together.
In Latino party, everyone's like, and I so that's why when you mix everyone, then it becomes
a nice,
freaking great
good
party.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean?
It does. Latinos can find their calmness. The white guys can just come out of their shell, and we all meet in the middle.
Exactly.
I think that's what you're doing. You're bringing everybody to the middle where we can all hodgepodge and drink a cuddle puddle. Have you ever been in a cuddle puddle?
Let me tell you, that Omni party's gonna be off the hook.
Okay, but can we break out in a cuddle puddle there?
Yeah.
Do you know what a cuddle puddle is?
No, not yet.
Okay, we're gonna talk about this because
it must be a millennial thing.
Well, no, it's kind of like a Burning Man ayahuasca love type thing.
Okay.
Not ayahuasca, but more like Burning Man thing. Now, in our next segment that we're gonna bring in a friend of mine who who's a contestant at Omni Fest.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to talk about a little bit, because I've been following his project as it's been developing.
Cool.
All right, so now we welcome my friend, who I affectionately call Brother Lane, because he's a brother to everyone. And Kiki, when I booked you for this podcast, talk about Omni Fest, I was actually very excited. Because my friend who you've met before, he's a contestant on Omni Fest. He has his project on.
One of our selections.
And I want to make sure that also and this was my excuse to bring him in. He I know he looks Latino. I know he looks brown, but he's not. So the fact that he's a contestant on Omni Fest being put on by Latina talent such as yourself, it was an opportunity for me to have him come on and talk about this project, which is very close to my heart as well. So Lane, it's called What's Your Medicine? Tell us a little bit more about the project, how it came together.
So What's Your Medicine was an idea that actually started, the seed started 3 years ago. So I started filming the making of ayahuasca. It was a medicine that was brought into my own life that helped just really shift and change a lot for my own healing. And I started filming. I was like, we've got to share this story. We've got to share this medicine. And how can we do that? Well, let's film it, and let's go share that story with other people. So it really started from this documentary that we were filming on ayahuasca. And towards the end of the filming, I discovered, which led me into doing other medicines and other projects and meeting other different types of healers and practitioners. And I was like, there are so many more medicines out there. Mm-hmm. Wow. And I started capturing more and more. And I didn't know what I was going to do with this project until it was about a year and a half ago. I was at a men's retreat in Bali, of all places, and doing some filming over there where it cemented. I was like, the show's going to be called What's Your Medicine?
Wow.
And this is going to be about us sharing the stories of these different practitioners, these different healers, on what their modality is, what their healing is. And so for guys like me who grew up in the Midwest who weren't used to seeing this. In California, we live in a different world where there is just a mecca of healers and practitioners and just different types of medicines out there and available. Whereas where I grew up in Minnesota, in the Midwest, there wasn't a lot, growing up, and there wasn't access, and it wasn't okay to do that. Where it's still a little bit taboo, there's still a little bit of the stigma around it, where it's still a very westernized, pushed pharmaceutical medicine.
Right.
Now we're opening. This is the premise of the show: is really to open up people to these different types of healing modalities. That
is
are
it just
safe.
psychedelics?
No. So psychedelics is a big one, which everybody loves to talk about, and doing the ayahuasca trips and DMT, and that's all amazing. Those are one avenue to take. We're in a $4 trillion neural hacking device. So you talk about people putting on head devices to find, their meditation, getting back into, talking about the theta and gamma waves. I went and researched the Theta Wellness Center in Provo, Utah.
Wow.
And they blew my mind with the new technology. And you're not go on a psychedelic trip over there. You're going there and trying out new machines, infrared saunas, and we're taking. They have watches now that you can wear that will end up reading your body's chemistry or your the scientific, the biological of what your body's getting out, your heart rate. And it will start feeding vibrations through your body to help bring you back down to.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I could use
bring you back down to a calm level. So all of a sudden, you Latinos are getting all hyped up and stuff. All of a sudden, your watch is.
Why do Latinos all have high blood pressure?
It's all vibrating, and that's meant to calm you back down.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing stuff.
And he's the calmest person I know. He actually,
I know.
One time he was just like, like feeling right here. And he's like, yeah, you just gotta relax. I'm like, I gotta be more like Lane. Just hearing some of this, because I think that a good project, a good documentary, especially series, is something that just turns you on to something, inspires you. I'm assuming you've never done any of like ayahuasca or any of these psychedelics.
No.
Oh,
But
wow.
I saw Lane's project. He was one of the first people that submitted his project to us, and I was so floored. It was so well done. It was really well put together. And it was something that I'm like, I want to see this.
Yeah.
I want to keep watching this. I want to see the next episode, or I want to see what else I could, learn from.
Were you aware, had you ever heard of ayahuasca?
No.
Were you, because one of the connections I think to if not Latino culture, because it's not really part of Latino culture, but it is something that comes from Latin America, and there's different. They're saying that there might be different forms of it in other parts of the world, but right now Peru and Colombia, one of the conservation efforts that they're leading is so that they can hold on to a lot of the medicines that have not even been discovered yet, but treating some of the medicines that are coming out there. I know that with mushrooms especially, which mushrooms are available all over the world, but Mexico has often had a culture of mushroom shamanry and all that kind of stuff. Now they're doing studies, and maybe What's Your Medicine will tap into this, where they're doing PTSD studies with soldiers. They're using mushrooms, and they find that, I think, under a psychedelic state, first of all, and I want to be responsible here, psychedelic experiences can also go the wrong way. That's why the setting is a very important thing. That's why, not to give too much away of what your practice is personally, but, me and Lane, we are part of, a tribe that puts on ceremony. I don't put it on. I just take part. But Lane has, or do you mind me saying this?
No, that's fine.
He has involved himself as a shaman along with another friend of ours and they've learned how not only to make the ayahuasca brew, which I want you to tell us about a little bit, but they set a ceremonial setting, which is very important.
Ayahuasca
Why don't you tell her about that?
Well, I think because of the legality of everything, we won't we won't say exactly where we're getting the medicine from, or where we're serving it. But trust me, people that want to go experience this type of medicine don't always have to go to Peru or Brazil or Colombia. I mean, a lot of it's happening in your back door. Your backyard.
Especially if you live in California.
Yeah, live in California. But there's, in New York, there's
Florida,
hotbeds everywhere. So what I like to tell people is, like, go to the hippiest person in your town, and then ask them where you can find this. And I think it's great. And I've asked other shamans about this. And by the way, we don't call ourselves like shamans. We're your guides.
But the wisdom comes from shamans.
Yeah, the wisdom comes from shamans. But my biggest thing is you're your best shaman.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is, just like right now, like you've done right here, is you provided a safe space for us to have a conversation, for us to talk. So we do the same thing in our types of ceremonies, whether it's mushrooms, doing psychedelics. It's provide a safe place for you to enter into that journey or that space, whether it's meditation or whether it's ayahuasca or doing DMT, for you to have that experience, because you do the work yourself. You do a lot of that work, that inner healing, that cleansing yourself. We're there to provide that safe place, and we can talk to you. And my background also is in spiritual psychology. Yeah. So if you have something that comes up, I'm vetted in that, where I can help you and for you to process what you're experiencing.
And that's why I'm so fixated on this project, because I do feel that there is a little bit of a revolution, or I like to use the word evolution better, that's happening right now. That's trying to understand how do we redefine spirituality, how do we redefine medicine. A lot of people, especially talk about the pharmaceuticals. So I think that the way to get this story out is through content.
Oh yeah.
It's you can have the one-on-ones and you can have your network of people, but I think that the cool thing, and then just kind of circling back to Omni Fest, is to create content that opens doors to discoveries, that opens doors in people's mind, that be like, maybe it's not for them to do this, but for them to be aware of it and to understand why other people might do this, might give them a broader scope of things. So that's one of the things that excited me about OmniFest, and not just your project, but a lot of the projects that are there. I'm very interested in not just the documentary.
That's
stuff,
what I want to.
I just want to say, I know Lane was one of the first people to put his project in, and he, you have no idea because you don't, work with us. But you have no idea how many people have seen it. Like the right people.
Right.
That's good. Yeah.
And it's gotten great, great feedback.
So even if a project doesn't win, it still is going to be seen, and doors could probably open to it getting made somewhere.
This is what I want to touch on too. Is this is for me as a filmmaker, content creator. This is the opportunity. First of all, humanity needs this right now.
I know.
There's more and more people becoming the spiritual leaders or their guides because humanity needs this right now. And we're at a very interesting time in our history.
Yeah.
And so for this festival, by the way, it's not just going to be the Anglo or white media covering this or just for this is supposed to be worldly.
Right.
That's what the intention behind What's Your Medicine is, translated in every different type of language that you can imagine, because every culture has their own medicine. And what works for them may not work for us, but at least we're now open to see it and experience. And I think the biggest part of medicine is to experience it. We can talk about it, we can believe in it, but unless it's experiential, then we really understand what's happening.
And and with your project, maybe people that would be scared to experience it can understand it a little bit better and feel safer about it.
Yeah, I'm the guinea pig for it. So I have to go experience it, and I'll give you my Midwestern, yes, this works, or no, it doesn't. So
I love he's calm, but he's straightforward. Yeah. This is, by the way, this was my little conspiracy theory to talk about ayahuasca, because it's so hard to get it in my programming. I'm like, okay, this is I know that OmniFest has this project as a contest. Kiki, do you mind if my friend pops in at the end? At your birthday, I had a few too many, and I made a joke that afterwards I felt bad about. Not to Zulai. She actually looked at me and laughed. Is she, not to get into her person, is she still dating?
Kevin?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not saying anything that's not out there. She's dating Kevin Dillon.
Yeah. Kevin Connolly.
Stop. Cut.
Yeah. I hope they get married. I love them.
No. Ready? Wait. She's dating Kevin Connolly. She's dating Kevin Connolly from Entourage, but he just directed an amazing movie called Gotti. So I'm drunk, and I was a big fan of Entourage. I don't usually turn fanboyish, but sometimes I turn fanboyish. So, but I forgot what he said, and I go, come on, Kevin, you're my second favorite character, my third favorite show. And he looks at me with his face, but she's like, oh my God, she's like busting out laughing.
So
good. And then I thought it was funny at the time, but going home, do you think Kevin was offended by it? Because I was really trying to connect with him. Because we actually had a good conversation. No, but you know what? I think it went well because I'm thinking about the rest of the night. We had a good conversation. He was, So
everyone
Kevin,
likes honesty. Everyone loves it. They appreciate it. You know what I mean? They appreciate it.
Listen, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you.
Love you, brother.
Brother Lane, Kiki Melendez. This has been
Check It Out. Wish us luck.
OmniFest is going to be a huge success. It's going to be the first of many.
Yay!
This has been Check It Out.